Okay, we are recording and we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the UK Zoom call under control. I am here with Peter as usual, and Gwen is sitting as usual in the chair of naughtiness, reading her dowsing book with nothing, with nothing to share today. And so I greet you all, and I will begin by passing the mic over to Peter.
Hello everyone. I've not got a lot to say this week, you'll be probably relieved to know. I haven't had any new dreams at all since the last time we spoke. I've got a couple of very, very short ones which I had kept back for this eventuality from I'd heard, ones I'd experienced rather before the last session. First one concerns being in a house and there's a doorbell going and opening the door and there's this massive monstrous person standing there, almost like a sort of Bigfoot type of man, and he tried to push his way in, and I sort of had to struggle to try and push him out again, but somehow managed to do it, and I felt I was being given strength, perhaps by the guys, I don't know, but I managed to push him away again and slam the door shut. And then a continuation of this rather short dream, I learnt from somewhere that he'd gone up the street and apparently attacked a blind man, but the blind man had managed to fight him off, and he'd run away. And that was rather the end of the dream, which is a rather weird thing. I rather wondered if this creature sort of symbolised the sort of dark forces in some way, trying to sort of get in and being rebuffed. Perhaps Duane could enlighten me, please.
Hello, Peter and Kevin and the whole family. Yes, we're in creation. This is how creation is, and we each decide something. So the house represents your personal self, and this creature is whatever. It's an influence. It's something. It can be a salesman at the door. It can be, doesn't even matter what it is. You learn to recognize these things. Especially as you do business in the business world. I do a lot of things like that too, and pretty soon you just pick up on these things because you're more so using your intuition, that intuitive part of yourself. And on the real side too, see, you're closer to that, so you might say you instinctively know not to let him in, etc. So and his size is overwhelming, and because we're in creation, things are overwhelming here, aren't they? And plus what's going on in the world today. So yes, this is always going to be there. So, you know, we have our personal life again, and we've got our little house that we live in, and we want it to be like we want it. We dress it up, we make it so, and this is our little happy home. Well, and we kind of pretend in a way that what's happening out in the world, it's like, oh, okay, that's happening out there, but it's not happening to us. But we've got to wake up and see where we're at in creation, and most people don't want to do that, so they stay the effect. So as you're becoming more aware, now you're noticing these things, where before you may have let him in, he walks around the house, he does certain things, and you kind of ask why, and maybe he leaves, maybe he takes some of the silverware or something, and then he leaves, and you're thinking, well, why did he do that? But he was so big, you weren't going to interfere. But now, the real you is more so recognizing what's going on, and it's very subtle, etc., as we go through creation. And these are the steps, and we decide to wake up to surpass our personal position. Again, the house represents that. So you decide how you're going to see the house and where you're at and what's going on. You are always the decider. Now you have some knowledge that implies more, and it's up to you how you're going to use that knowledge, you see. So again, yeah, so these are things you're going to go through many, many, many times over. And what do they do in the military? They prepare the individual. They prepare them through boot camp for what's coming. Well, most people aren't prepared. They're passive in the system, aren't they? So they're like surprised. You shouldn't be surprised about anything here, simply because this is how it is. This is a warring realm, and there are those that are just out to destroy everything, and that's how it is. And there's no pretending, and it's not like, okay, well, I hang around with the good people. Well, there's a lot of bad people out there, and bad individuals and influences that don't care about the good people. And that's very real. And are you prepared to deal with it? So again, there's, this is your experience. You decide.
Right. Actually, that's quite interesting because the other little dream I got, I suppose, this sort of leads on logically from that, really, from what you were just saying. It's rather an odd one, like they all are. But I was in this big hall place, and there's several other people sort of milling around. And there's a big table. On this table was a display of Lego, children's toy, and there was this massive, great model of a town. I think it was actually quite marvelous. Actually, been made of this stuff, and we were sort of talking about it and admiring it. And suddenly, one of the bricks sort of popped out on its own, made a hole in the wall, and I sort of instinctively pushed it back in. And then another one did a bit further away, and that was really the end of it. But I wonder if that's what seemed to tie in what you were just saying, really, didn't it, about evil people sort of trying to destroy or annoy, say the least, people trying to get on with their lives and so forth.
Yes, it's very real. Again, we've been socially bred to think that everything's okay. All we have to do is just, and most people want to be told what to do. So we feel that, many people feel they're good people because they obey what they're being told. They obey the laws, the restrictions, and whatever. So they feel that they're a good person. And you throw the God idea in there. Well, God protects those that are good, etc. And but it's not so. It's all a fallacy. And animals know this. You watch animals, unless they're socially bred. The ones that are out there, so-called in the wild, are actually nature. They're very aware. They're always looking for the predators. Not everyone has the predators. Lions, no big deal. They just casually, they'll sleep out in the middle of the field. They don't care. They don't really have predators. But all the other animals, when they're out there, if it's the deer, it's the rabbits, the squirrels, whatever, they're always looking around as they're eating. 360, because they know that there are predators out there. But people walk around like everything's okay, but they don't see the matrix they're in, and they can be picked at any time and they're gone. Are they ready for this? Just as an example, the alien abductions, those happen all the time, and people's memories are erased and they don't even know it. But all of a sudden they start to have real side experiences here and there or in their dreams, and these things show up. So yes, again, this appearance of things, this society, these systems have been created to keep people one-dimensional and unaware. That's the whole of it. And so as people grow up in these systems and ideas, again, they're taught certain ideas. Again, when the light is red, you stop. When it's green, you can walk across the street, etc. So, they're taught the rules and regulations. In other words, to obey. And it's not about not obeying, it's about becoming more aware. So, yes, and the Lego idea it's just an idea. You take Legos and you create something, right? That's an idea. You create it with Legos or blocks or whatever we build. Whatever you're seeing in this world is created ideas. But again, you need creation. But you decide when you're going to see through creation. And we've all been brought up with these ideas: political, religious, spiritual, education, scientific. These are ideas. That's all they are. People chase ideas. They think, oh, well, I follow this master and I get initiation, so I'm spiritual. I'm above all this. No, you're just following an idea. That's not the true reality life is. And you can have all these cute little sayings and whatever, or wisdom, but you know what? Those are just ideas. They have nothing to do with the whole of life, and they can still come and get you. Doesn't matter how nice you are or whatever, but they still come and get you because you're in creation. So yes, this place is not what you think it is, but you can pretend as long as you want that it is, and then you will stay the unconscious effect of it. So yeah, the dreams are giving you hints as to what is possible, or more so for you to decide, but you are the decider. Go ahead.
Yeah, this rather brings me to the point then that, as I said at the beginning, I seem to have a bit of a dry up in dreams, at least meaningful dreams, since we last spoke. The two I've just sort of mentioned, as I go back before we last spoke. I wondered if there was any significance to that. Is this some sort of test or something to test my sort of remaining faithful, or whatever the word is? Because all the dreams I seem to have had now in the last couple of weeks have always been, what little I can remember of, are just mundane, ordinary things to do with work and what have you. And if I'm sort of misreading the situation, or probably tonight I'll have a fantastic dream, but I just wondered if there's any significance to that, or it's just a rather random thing.
Well, again, Peter, it's your life is your decision. So if you all of a sudden get up one day and decide to go hang gliding or parachute jumping, all of a sudden your real side experiences are going to go along those lines or whatever with what you're deciding, you see. But for the most part, look at your life. You keep deciding the same thing every day. You keep looking for something, you see. And life is about doing. It's about what you do and decide, okay? And that equals your experiences. So this is the interesting thing that life is. In other words, through all that I've been through and during this lifetime, and I go back and forth in comparisons automatically with myself. I've set myself up like this. You decide how you're going to set yourself up. And I always take the risk into something and put myself into something that I haven't done before. Just like when I created all of this with the new presentation since 2001. In other words, I followed along, and then when it was my turn, I started creating something, and it took me a while to figure it out. But this is where creation comes in, and as you just do basically your life, well, that's all it's going to be. And that's all it's been for lifetimes. And so well, the whole idea of why we're here is that to figure out, first of all, ourselves with creation, and then in some way relate this to the true reality and not other ideas that have been created. So what has been put in front of us is the God and Savior idea. All right. And that just sounds really good because it's a comfort zone to the personal self. It's like, well, all I have to do is believe in God and I'm going to be saved. So see, it's a passive thing. I don't have to do anything. It's all done for me. Oh, I pay my membership dues. The master takes care of me. See, well, we go through those babysitting stages, and that's not a put down. Nothing is negated. Everybody goes through it. But eventually you start to see that no, you start to test it, that no. And I had to do this myself. I had to figure it out, just like I figured out my construction business. No one was going to figure it out for me. I had to do it. I had to figure out all this stuff, and then I see how it works. And I see how life steps up when I decide certain things that relates to this true reality. Not just that I go out there and I take karate lessons and then I eat healthy food and I, exercise and do all these things. No, that just equals itself. That's all. But actually to recognize this true reality, and how in the heck do you create something that relates to it and makes sense at the same time, to where it backs you. It all equals itself, you see? So your experiences are going to be along those lines. Everybody's is. And see, this is where people come to this because they've been in spiritual paths. They've been passive. They've been set up to be passive. So they're expecting something, you see? And so that's not really what this is. This is a risk-taker position. Are you going to take the time to recognize this reality? The dreams, the new you, the knowledge, the new presentation. That's just a start to that. You go through that, you're reading the instruction book, but then at some point where will you step up? But most people won't. They will just stay in their place because their personal life is more important. So the end result is, yeah, they know about this and they're thinking that, oh, it's all taken care of, but guess what? It's not. You know, it's like getting up and going to your job every day. You can qualify for the job, but if you don't show up, you don't have a job. That's real. And so this is showing up for the job. So what comes first? What is 100%? You know, some people think I'm on a mission. I'm not on a mission. This is my life. This is what I do every day, 24/7. This is the whole thing. You know, I don't have a personal life. I do things that imply a personal life: eat, swim, surf, sleep, whatever. Yes, I do those things, but that's not my life, because I have this body here, just like a car, you maintain it. So again, you are the decider. This is very, very important. And see, this is rather new to everybody, because again, we've been brought up and taught to look to authorities, right? Our parents, our teachers, you know, the system here, gods, saviors, all these things. Oh, these are all good things. So, you know, let us rejoice, etc. Well, you know, you can jump up and down, but the end result is you ain't went nowhere. And you can take all the initiations you want from these masters or whatever. You haven't went anywhere. You can read all the books and whatever. Well, that's good. How are you going to relate that to the true reality? How are you going to recognize that and relate it? Or is it just a lot of words? How does it relate to that? Everything you do. How does everything you do relate to that? So otherwise, what you have is you have your personal life only. And that basically, it's kind of like a cat or a dog chasing their tail, like a doggy chasing his tail. That's what the personal life is. A person's just chasing their tail and just going around and around and around, and they just keep doing it, just thinking they're getting somewhere, and they're having experience. Yes, you're having experience, but the experiences that we're having only have a reality according to the true reality life is when we recognize the reference of them. And so that's your part, because that's your real awareness, because you are awareness in the endless isness life is. And this again is the best part, to recognize this isness, because there are no authorities. You don't need authorities. There's the is, and there's the isness. It's like, you know, the is the is, like the sun, and then everything else is the endless ocean of the isness, and this is where we are, and it's this recognition. And so to get to that point, to start that's huge, because we have this personal self. You always have to deal with it here. So learning about the 5 bodies and how they function and all these things, see, it's all kind of crammed into this personal self. And so until we take the time, it's very important to learn about the 5 bodies and how creation really is. Not just assume it and then just go off to work and get your coffee and, you know, chat with the people at work and do your little job. Fine. Well, that's all set up for you. All those jobs and everything in the monetary system have been set up for you to keep you here one-dimensional. Oh, and you have a good life. Oh, the personal self, because it has feelings. It has sensations. And that's what it occupies. It relates to its feelings and sensations. Well, how do you feel today? Oh, you don't look so good, or whatever, etc. You see, again, the personal self. Until you discover the true reality life is, you won't experience real freedom, because there is none here. So again, young man, you are the decider every single moment. And this is the nowness life is. It's all in the nowness. It's not in the future, because the only thing in the future is old age and unawareness. Again, you will forget you are here, ever here. And that's all you got to look forward to. So, you know, I try to let people know that it makes sense to be now and learn to recognize this true reality as we stand being to being with each other, more so than just a personal self. Don't worry, the personal self will be there. We'll still be bumping into each other. That's a given. And while you're in your dreams, because you're also in an unconscious mode there, just like the big fellow that came to the door, things are going to happen. Are you ready? Are you ready for it? You decide how you're going to prepare yourself. So now you have this information, you have this knowledge, you decide how you're going to utilize it, because all life is about survival. The bottom line is, how are you going to survive? And most people survive being the effect of everything, so it's a struggle and suffering. That's their survival. So you can survive in your real awareness and have a real freedom. It's the big view. But you have to learn to recognize it, and you have to deal with that personal self you've created. But it is something also that you pivot off of, because you need it, but you need to recognize how it is and how it relates to the true reality life is. So, lot to do.